And no music.
No music.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. And welcome to the Hot Bizfluent podcast, where we get all up in your business. So let's talk. Today's guests are brought to you today by Crush City Realty Group, your premier Houston real estate experts, and luxury real estate agent Alyssa Emmons, where everything she touches turns to sold. And finally, Covo Capital, fast, flexible financing for all your commercial lending needs. This podcast is for informational purposes only. The views expressed in this podcast by guests may not be those of the Bizfluent podcast. Don't forget to stay to the end to find out how to get some of our amazing merch. Let's get down to business. And now, please welcome your host with the most, JP Byers.
Yeah, I got to get this thing done. I've got to get the pre-recorded session done just so we don't have any mistakes. Whatever. It's the best way to open up.
Another 500 post
right
bloopers.
So everybody, welcome today. You know, we're glad to see you again. It's early in the morning. If you're just getting logged in, it's 5 a.m. Thursday morning, and we want to welcome you to the Bizfluent podcast, if I can even remember the name of my podcast after this moment. So anyhow, as you guys know, I've got two amazing co-hosts, and that's going to be Josh Perella and Alyssa Emmons. And today we actually have quite a special guest. He is very well known in our personal communities. And so for anybody that doesn't know Josh, I or Alyssa, we pretty much all live right here around this beautiful lake that you can see in Alyssa's background, which is Taylor Lake Village. And I live in Seabrook, just as right there next door. And so there you go. And so there's this guy that we all know, have all met and shaken his hand personally, had plenty of conversations with, and he does quite a bit of business in this area. So, hey, how about introducing him, huh, Alyssa?
Sure, why not? Thank you. Hello. So today we are blessed to hear from James Toler, founder, CEO, manager of all things King James Lending. Bring him on.
And here he is. So, James.
That's pretty good for being put on the spot, Alyssa.
Yeah, that was excellent. My hype man, hype woman right there.
There you go.
Right.
Do
So,
it,
man,
I can.
So, man, why don't you give us a real quick rundown? It's King James Lending. What is King James Lending?
Yeah, so really it's an investment private lender that's taking funds from deals that I've done. If you need to buy a deal, I've got a deal, matter of fact, that's we're about to fund, and the lender just fumbled it, day of closing kind of thing. It's $600,000, and they're bringing about 150 to closing, and I'm bringing 450, and I'm going to close it out and then give them a little time to refinance me out, but they just want to secure the property. So a lot of the times it's really just private funds, investment. Deal falls apart. You love the property. You don't want to lose it. I'll come in. I'll help you finance it, and I'll give you enough time to get me out. So that sort of thing. It's really, we've done
more or less
hard money lending.
Yeah, and so
sure.
without really, you gave us the definition without the vocabulary word. So really, what you are is you're a bridge, and you are what's this particular loan you were just talking about is a bridge loan. And so that most of you guys understand what we're talking about here is like he said, James came in, he's fulfilling a need to make sure that a client has enough cash to still actually get the property, but until they can turn around and receive the rest of the funding, the additional $450,000, they're going to be paying him, generally speaking, interest only, right, James?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And it's short term, typically 6 months to a year.
Yep.
It's just something that I enjoy a lot. I think.
Yeah. How did you get started? And I mean, I know a little bit of the backstory, but just tell our listeners and viewers how you got started in just giving people money.
Oh, well, I mean, it started. really, it's from doing deals. I guess that would start by how'd you get money.
Yes, that would be a great precursor.
But it was just flipping, buying homes, wholesaling homes, using my license. I was a realtor for a number of years, helped me out when I first got started. Kind of gave me that money initially to help me buy more properties at the end of the day. But flipping, I started doing one at a time. Didn't know what I was doing. Did one at a time, and kind of figured out how all the pieces played, and started doing 2 at a time, then 3 at a time, then 5 at a time, then 10 at a time, then 15 at a time. It's just built up over time, real slow. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. I just every day trying to get a little better, learn a little bit, meeting new people, bringing partners on, just try to treat people right, do things right. Ultimately, so I just did that for 6-7 years, and just slowly, started doing more and more deals. And how I got into lending was kind of interesting. I had a buddy of mine, COVID. It was kind of right around COVID. He was using a private lender, and they were at the closing table, ready to close, and the lender called him and said, "Hey, by the way, I'm not going to fund this." So, it was a private lender, so he was like, "Well, shoot, what do I do?" Called me up, said, "Hey, James, I don't know, you've never done this, but would you help me? I'm in a bind. Like, I'm in a real bind right now. I need some help." I said, "Yeah, let me look at it. I've never done it, but just a good friend of mine. I was really just trying to help him, to be honest with you. Just trying to do a good deed." And I went over there, looked at it. I really liked the property. It was in Seabrook. Y'all are in Seabrook. It's off Red Bluff, actually.
I know the property you're talking about.
You know it? Yeah. So that was my first loan. If you probably right on that little bend.
Wow.
That
turned into a great little property. That was a great little property. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 116,000. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. I went to the bank, got a cashier's check, went straight to title, and from call to close, it was about 2 hours.
Wow.
It's quick, and I just helped. I didn't do that as some grand. I just was helping a buddy, and people started hearing about it, and they were like, "Hey, man, I heard you did that. I heard you close quick. Would you be open to working with me?" I said, "Sure."
You want to be my buddy too?
Yeah, let's be friends. You're a great hype woman, and I'm sure we can work well together. But yeah, that's really how it started. I was taking care of people. I think that's at the heart of real estate. Is you're trying to find a need, and then just be honest, and trustworthy, and people. I've always kind of taken that approach. People trusted me. If I told you I'm going to do something, I would never back out like that. Even if I had to go borrow the money myself, I'd have done whatever it took. You know what I mean? If my word was on the line, I would have done whatever. And that's kind of how I've taken into real estate. Just from when I first started. My word is everything to me. I think your reputation is your greatest asset, at the end of the day, especially in the investment world, but in any world, to be honest with you. So that's kind of how I got started. And just one at a time, one person, taking care of one person, one client. And it's just slowly grown from there. That's about how I got into it.
Yeah, but I think, again, it comes down to one of the things that we always wind up talking to on this podcast is in this industry. It's not just this industry. When the deeper we dive into the rest of the industries that we've been showcasing, the more it really boils down to it. The thing we have to offer is a solid relationship, right? And it's a relationship where one hand washes the other. It's never one hand gets to crush the other. The only way you can be sustainable is to always be there to support your people.
Something, just a quick thought on that. It's a thought that I've really thought a lot about. I read about this in a book, but it was a business owner who said, "I never want to do a deal where the other person feels like I got a little more than them."
Yeah.
Especially when you're good in business, right? You can structure the terms, or you can leverage the situation one way or another where you get more value than maybe your client does, or another investor, or another business owner.
Right.
And that's made an impression on me, is even when I know that I can get the advantage or maybe get a little more, it's always best not to. It's almost best to give them a little more.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they walk away with that interaction thinking, man, James really took good care of me, as opposed to, did he? Did he? I feel like he kind of took advantage of me a little bit. And I just think you can be greedy long term or greedy short term. And I feel like too many people are greedy short term.
Well, absolutely.
Especially right now.
Money.
Especially right now, you're getting a lot of cutthroats in there that are taking advantage of some people just because they're seeing a lack of business, so they feel they'll make it up by taking advantage of other people to make up their loss. But that's, I mean, long term, that's not a long term strategy.
I had a friend of mine who did a listing agreement with their client who charged 6% to the seller and 0% to the buyer's agent.
Wow.
Yeah. And so whenever they came to negotiate, they said, well, what do you mean? What are you paying me as the buyer's agent? Oh, nothing. Well, we're paying 0, but they were getting 6% as the listing agent. Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's
that'll sink a business and a reputation real quick. You may get one or two people, but you're eventually it's gonna get around. And negative advertising. I mean, we talked about he sort of almost. I thought he was gonna touch on it, but even in my world, we're always talking. We added a 4C of character, and when you're a lender, you're looking at not just risk. You're looking at what's the character of that person, which calculates into the risk. So if they're giving you bad information, if they're being slow on paperwork or it seems like they're hiding something or something else along those lines, it becomes an issue of character. It's not just a metric of 2 + 2 = 4. There's some intangibles there that you got to look at both. And that's both, just like you said, it's both on the lender side and on the consumer side. A consumer wants to know that they're getting a good deal. And then they're going to go out and in turn referral you. And that's the best advertising you can get. I love not having to go source deals and just get referrals.
Well, you always want to pay somebody for a referral too, right? You're like, I pay for referrals because if you trust me enough to send me business, then I want to make sure you know how much I appreciate it.
I pay my referrals in crumble cookies. if they're not in the real estate world, like the other day, I sent my aunt.
I'm going to refer you a ton. Be my fat ass.
So real quick before you get going, it's funny you brought up a book, but then as soon as you get done bringing up this book, I'd like to know what the name of it is, because really what you just quoted was almost. Not even, I shouldn't say it's not almost. It's a very good synopsis of the first law of the Go-Giver. And the Go-Giver is one of my absolute favorite books, James. It's a real short read. It's great for people with no attention span like myself. But the actual law itself, it's called the law of value. And your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. And so it's a really hard thing to conceive to people to say, well, if I give an hour, I should receive an hour. Well, it's not about the amount of time. It's the amount of work you put into that hour. And so if I was a regular guy that didn't care about anything working down at McDonald's, salt and French fries, then if all I do is care about salt and French fries and I never clean the machine, I don't care about anything, then I'm not giving them anything other than what they're paying me. But if I make sure that I have the best dang French fries that anybody's ever had at McDonald's, there's a solid chance that I'm going to move forward in life because, again, I'm giving more in value than what I'm being paid. And it's kind of the whole thing, paying your dues. It's something that a lot of these Gen Zers just can't get through their head. You pay your dues one way or another.
Yeah. The Go-Giver is a fantastic book. It's a phenomenal book. I like the connector in that book. I kind of see myself as a connector trying to meet people and then introduce those people to other people, and then kind of creating a community, of like-minded people. I think that's accounted for a lot of success that I've had, is just trying to find high quality people, in my
Yeah.
opinion. That's very hard to do, but if you get like-minded people together, special things can happen. That's what I found.
Amen to that. Yeah. But
What-
yeah, no. Go ahead.
When do you think, James, that you kind of everybody when they start a business, they've got a couple phases they're going through. They're building their business. They're struggling, saying, "Am I in the right business?" Several different stages, happens to different degrees for different people. But there's always a moment when they say, "Okay, I think I've finally gotten to a point. I love this. It's working. All cogs are moving." When did that happen for you? And what was the ingredient that you felt was the biggest ingredient for why that success happened?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I thought about it like that. I love investing. I've always loved investing. And was there a moment in time?
More like you felt comfortable in your own skin in it. Or did you always feel comfortable in it?
I think I always felt comfortable. I don't think I ever, that's not a thought that I think I ever had. And maybe I'm just not in touch with my emotions. People say that about me. And you can be
funny.
blind and a fool to all those things, and you just push forward. And I'm not the best emotional person. You know what I mean? I don't know that it's been an advantage to some degree not to be emotional when you're dealing with a lot of money, because you can really get stressed. Some people just get stressed and they start freaking out. And I mean, it's a big emotional climb, and I don't wear my emotions on my sleeves, and it hurts me some areas of life, but I think investing, it's not an emotional game. It's logical. And so you make decisions based on logic and based on the numbers. And I'm pretty good at that, not in adding emotions in. But I would say what made me feel comfortable is as I develop more relationships. That's relationships with contractors. I had people that I knew were looking out for me. I say that might be a different way to word that, but I think when I knew that people cared about me, they were looking out for me, they wanted the best for me, and I in return. When you find a number of people like that, good things are going to start happening. So I think and you might consider that my network. But as my network grew and grew and grew, I think that made me feel more comfortable, because you have more deals coming toward you. You have more capital at your disposal, and you can pick up a call, a phone, and say, "Hey, I need $1 million tomorrow," and they say, "No problem." There's some comfort in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Absolutely.
and knowing that you can take down pretty much any opportunity, and then you can make a call to your contractor and say, "Hey, look, I got this $1 million deal. It's worth $3 million. There's a lot of equity here. We need to stop what we're doing and get straight over there." And you can put it all together. You can put the money and put the construction and the contracts. So I think to me, I would probably say relationships.
Yep.
Well, you've done a great job of growing your relationships and your network. I mean, here locally, you have is it weekly, monthly meetup that you host? And I mean, just what went into all of getting all those people together? I mean, I know when I see pictures of it, there is a room full of people that you're networking with. And I mean, can you give us a little bit of the backstory of how that started, that group?
Just adding value.
Yeah.
That's just, one of my things I do in real estate, and I do it to this day, is I try to meet one new person a day, just to have it, right? I mean, you're gonna have breakfast, you're gonna have lunch, you're gonna have it anyway. Why not do that with somebody new?
With intention.
With intention. I'm already gonna have it, right? So it's a little habit that I've gotten into is I'm always trying to meet new people. So I'll take people for coffee or I'll take them to lunch, and I'll try to figure out. Now, the goal that I'm doing there is not to, I don't have an agenda. So I literally walk in with no agenda. It's not to get them as a client or anything. I'm literally trying to figure out what they want, right? What do you want? I'll give you an example. Something that I enjoy a lot in real estate. My processor, she processes all my loans. She came to me 2 weeks ago and said, James, look, I see you buying all this. I'm processing your stuff. I really want a rental. Like, I really want a rental. I really feel like I'm ready. I said, okay, first step is go get pre-approved for long-term financing. She went out and did it. And so then we're looking, and I had a file come in Pasadena. It's worth about $215,000. It's a buddy of mine. He got it for $105,000.
Wow.
It's a pretty good deal. And
Yeah.
now in brick is a brick home. And I told him, I called him, I said, hey man, I know you got that deal. It's a good deal. But look, my processor, who I love, we do a lot together. She wants to buy it. Would you be open to selling it? And we agreed.
Nice.
She ended up buying that for $142,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And it doesn't need much. It needs maybe 15,000, something like that. Very little. But I love that, right? I mean, think about somebody coming to you and saying, hey, I want to buy a rental. And then 2 weeks later, we're under contract and you're buying it. That's exciting to me. Super.
Yeah.
I mean, just thrilled,
Yeah.
I guess. And the bar, or my buddy, walked away with $35,000. She's getting a great rental. She's got good equity. Everybody's winning. I just love
Exactly.
that. But one thing I would say, just on that thought, and I had talked to her about this. I said, this all happened quick, but you let your desires be known.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that? I think that's something we should all think about a lot, is one, being clear of what you're after, but then letting them be known. Because all she did was say, James, I want a rental. And then 2 weeks later, she had it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, instead of keeping that inside and just like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one, like something I want, it may be too far down the road. I mean, just put it out in the universe, and the universe.
A lot of people get stuck in assumptions. They start assuming these things, and it stops them from moving forward. And it's funny we got on this topic because I was over at a buddy's house, and we usually have a hot tub night, and me and my wife and him and his wife will just sit around talking nonsense. But he owns a Jeep mechanic shop in town called Jeep Slop Shop, and we were just talking on the point of his, and I was like, "You're assuming too much, man. Just go. Just ask. You haven't even asked. You don't know. The worst thing this person's going to say on this deal and this opportunity he's talking about is no. And you'll be in the same place you were prior. So you have nothing to lose. Stop assuming things. And that goes along the lines of just what y'all are talking about. Like, sometimes you just got to get rid of those assumptions and basically defeating yourself before you even go put the foot forward. So
when we were talking about that literally just yesterday during our Tuesday meeting, our bi-monthly Tuesday meeting, Kevin Jones got up and was talking about how people are so much quicker to call somebody they've never talked to before, because I don't know you and you don't know me. And so you telling me no doesn't hurt my feelings. But when it comes to people I do know telling me no, or whatever, now I've got feelings attached to it, and it makes me scared, and I don't want to pick up that phone. Right? I mean, it's insane that we really let the smallest things get to us, and it's really us setting our own glass ceiling. Nobody else in the world sets that ceiling for us. It's ourselves. We do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
I think you almost have to be outcome. Whatever the outcome of an event occurring is.
Yep.
You have to be indifferent. That might be the right word there. You know what I mean?
So the
Regardless
best
of-
way, I think the better way to put it is almost the same way they do when it comes to sports, right? Your best sports players in the world, we call them goldfish. And it's because that last pitch means nothing. All I care about is this pitch. And I don't care if that's from a batter standpoint or a pitcher standpoint, the last play, the last whatever, be a goldfish. And everybody goes, what do you mean by be a goldfish? Well, a goldfish has a short-term memory of 5 seconds. So whatever happened 5 seconds ago doesn't matter. As long as you're
Right.
swimming towards a goal, what happened is behind you, done and over with. You just be Dory. Just keep swimming.
That's
And
beautiful.
see, some
There you
of us
go.
would say be Elsa and let it go.
Yeah. But I don't like Walt Disney. I'm just kidding.
How many young kids do y'all have?
None. My wife and I are empty
You've got
nesters.
grandbabies.
Yeah.
I got two pups. Those are my kids, and they're pissing me off right now.
They're not pissing you off. They're just pissing.
They're pissing. Yeah, they're mad. I think that mom is out of town in Florida, so I think they're making dad work a little bit extra. James, tell us kind of, every lender falls within a niche. Give us an idea a little bit about where you fall, what kind of deals you're looking for, so the people that are watching out there, know what you're looking for.
In case they need $1 million in 2 hours.
What's the criteria? What's the basic criteria
From a lending perspective?
from a lending
Yeah.
perspective?
Yeah. Well, equity. How good is the deal? If the deal's worth $3 million, you can buy it for $1 million. And in fact, I give you an example.
I'd love that deal.
Yeah, I've got a buddy of mine. It's 36 units, apartments, 36 unit apartment complex in Houston, and it's worth about $4 million, right around there, and they're getting it for $2 million.
Wow.
And they've got rehab on it, but we're going to finance it. But scenario like that, you're bringing a phenomenal deal to the table. So I would say that's probably the biggest part to it all. Your capital base, how much money do you have to float the note and do the rehab? Who's your contractors? Can you handle that kind of construction, that level of construction? Credit doesn't play a big role. It does refinancing, but not necessarily buying a deal like that. So a lot of times it's just how good is your deal. I would say that would be because I'm lending less on the person and more on the asset.
Yep.
That's literally what hard money means. It means you're lending more on the hard asset, not the person. Now, I don't want to lend to just anybody, but I would say I have made loans to people that it was questionable from the person side, but I lowered the equity. It was like a 50% loan to value kind of thing. So it was such a good deal, or I had them bring enough money. So it all kind of is revolving. At the end of the day, I always want to put people in it for success. But if they get a great deal like that, they should do very well, even if maybe the margin of error is smaller. So that's how I would say that. The more equity you have, the more likely it is to go well. You know what I mean? Just from the investment side.
So the thing that's kind of cool is you got in this business, actually, like you said, flipping houses, right? And here recently, it's been about a year ago. I've got a dog trying to introduce himself. It's about a year ago, you and I met at Bacon, and I'd heard your name kicked around the office quite a bit. You worked with one of the agents that's moved on and is no longer with KW anymore, but you worked with him quite a bit, and I believe you still do work with him quite a bit. And so you came to Bacon, though, which, and for anybody that doesn't know what Bacon is, it's the Bay Area Commercial Real Estate Network here at the Clear Lake, Houston, Southeast Houston area. And you came with another one of the guys that you fund quite often named Nathan Haley. Nathan Haley is a great agent. He's a great flipper, and he's a really good investor, and he's been doing it for a long time. But you came with the intention of specifically starting to try to dip your toe into commercial lending. And so how has that been going for you? How is the commercial things? You just mentioned a 36 unit apartment complex. That's a pretty big start. What else have you got going on, or what else have you had going on commercially?
Oh, all kinds of commercial, RV parks, storage units, apartment complexes, horizontal development, buying land. Got in Dallas, we've got 100 acres that investor bought, went in, did all the horizontal, all your plumbing and your roads and everything, and then replatted and selling off each plat to let investors do the vertical going up. So I would say a little of everything. We've got a deal in San Leon. I'm meeting with the individual tomorrow. He's built 14 units, and he's on his second phase to build another 14 units. And then
I know this deal intimately.
Do you?
I do. I'll talk to you off.
Huh?
I know this deal intimately. Yeah.
Do you?
I'll talk to you off. I think it's a deal that can be made. In fact, actually, I was going to ask you off later if you wanted to look at this, but now that you're looking at it, but speak to it. Have you talked to him? Yeah, interesting character.
Met him there. Very interesting.
Did we lose you?
Yeah, we lost your
sound.
So give it just a second, and we'll see if we can get your sound back.
I don't think you can hear us either. No, it's funny that he's bringing this deal up because I think it would be a great deal for him, especially since he can get more personal. Some of the and sometimes that's what it takes is, every lender's this is my entire game. Every lender's not the same, and every client is not it does not meld with the same lenders. You have to find a good personality mix. James, can you hear us yet?
I think he was trying to
log back on. And so this is you back?
Can you hear us, James?
Nope.
The joys of internet.
So, but I think that's the other thing is when it comes to James, one of the things that's really fueled his business is the same thing that fuels our business is the opportunities that he has are from other relationships. And one thing that I really wanted to make sure we highlighted when it came down to James coming in to Bakerin was that he really does a good job of, yeah, we can hear you now. No, you're good.
It happens.
So James does a really good job of like him saying he wants to meet a person a day. He's not out there busting his butt to try to find a person a day. He uses his own network. Says, hey, who is it that you can introduce me to that I've not met that I can go for? So, I mean, you can leverage your relationships, and it's something that I haven't been very good at. But like last night, for the first time ever, I met the mayor of LaPorte, and I leveraged a relationship to make it happen. Right.
What a week he's having.
Yeah, I think so. It's just been one of those things where it's if you don't leverage your relationships, what's the point in having them?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Back to you, James. Now that we got you back.
Yeah. Well, I would just you kind of said it. He's an interesting guy. I like those kind of guys because they speak the truth and they want you to be blunt, right? There's no cookie cutter, right? And I like those guys. I really do. I like the guys but anyway, so we were talking back and forth. He's just like, I don't know if you can do what you say, and I'm looking at other lenders, and I don't know about you, and blah blah blah. And so finally, he's like, hey man, he goes, are you going to change the terms on me? Are we gonna get through this? I'm gonna buy this $3,500 appraisal and spend all this time, and then you just change it all on me. And I said, sir, there's a reason that my name was there's a reason I'm here meeting you in person, and there's a reason that my name got brought up to you.
Yeah.
And he says, James, speak no more. No more. You know, speak no more. That's all I need to hear from you. And he goes, man, that was a really why. He said something kind of like, that was a really, for your age, that was really something to say. I don't know, man. I'm just sitting here, you know, man. I just working, talking to him, but it's true, right? I mean, there was a reason I'm there, and your other lenders surely didn't drive out there and meet you in person and shake your hand and see what you're building and this. I mean, amazing property, right?
Yep.
Nobody else did that. I'm sitting here right in front of you right now. That tells you how serious I am. And also, one of the RV parks that I financed was literally right across the street. I said that one right there. I financed that one right there. You see it right there, and he's like, "Oh yeah."
And that's going to go a long way with him. That's going to go a long way with him. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. You probably will win the deal anyways, but I'm going to give you 100% to help you win that deal because I think it's a very I think it's a financeable deal, and it was sad when we couldn't get our deal done with him because the guy has credibility. He's built buildings. He's got great assets. He's got collateral. I mean, it's a good fit. It just needs to be like we were talking before you came back on. Not every client melds with every lender, the same lenders. You got to find a personality fit, especially on a hard money loan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, he's interesting. I like all personalities. You know, I like guys like that. I really do. But
did he give you
people?
Did he give you the background? So this is how amazing this dude is. He escaped from Russia. Like he was in the military and escaped and came over here through Greece. Not even I think 20, 30 years ago, and literally brought family back over, gives back to his family, is very close with his family. I mean, just an amazing guy to listen to and talk to. So I think that's going to be a good deal for you, man. I really do.
I think you find that more often than anything. You find people that come here to our country with absolutely nothing. They're the ones that truly live the American dreams because they had nothing and they had to.
Well, they understand hard work. They understand hard work.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and it's just amazing.
Yeah. All right. So I have a completely different question, but kind of going along the lines of what we've been talking about on the podcast the past couple of weeks, James, we've been talking about artificial intelligence. So this week there was a new operating system released to people that have, other phones than what I have. And one of the big things is their AI assistant on that. What is it? How do you, and if you do, what do you do in your business with artificial intelligence?
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hadn't done anything with it. Probably a big mistake. I think a lot of my business is really through relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a guy that's calling around to different lenders, and I'm the only one to show up. And I shook his hand, and I learned about his backstory, and I learned about, and I had the capability of helping him, and the willingness to. Now, how does AI play into that? I mean, maybe AI could get me in front of more people, or maybe, I don't know. It'd be an interesting conversation. If somebody, I don't have that expertise, I don't know enough about it, but I think that it's the future, but I do think that there's always going to be people wanting the guy to show up, and give him the handshake and tell him this is how it's going to be. And you can trust me. There's always going to be an element of that, but
yeah, we've discussed that we don't think AI is replacing people. But we've been talking about just how different industries can utilize it to, do different things within their industry. So I just was, carrying over, curious to know if you were using it for anything. Because I'm over here thinking I don't know how or what James would be able to do with AI, other than just asking her for a place for coffee and her tell you that there's 15 nearby.
I I don't know about that. So I think that one of the things that we've been talking about that's been really nice. It just again, it doesn't play as big of a part in your world because you're so asset based. But man, one of the things that when it comes down to it is processing loans. The few banks that have started using AI process loans so much faster because they use AI as an aid. It's not an end all be all. It's not a hey, this is a cut and stone perfect deal, but let's just say it is the perfect deal. That perfect deal is so clear, so fast that it's ridiculous, and so it makes it faster and easier. Then again, we're talking about people that are more based on credit. Um, but I would be interested to know. I would be very interested to know how much your business could increase if you did employ an AI specialist, and I don't mean employing AI as an actual employee type kind of thing, but having your assistant start digging into AI or hiring a social media person that uses AI to help you draw in more people. I'd be really interested to see how much that could affect your business.
It's about process, but I mean, just like he's saying, a lot of this side will never be replaced by AI because it's all relationship building. It's all getting in front of people. It's all the intangibles of getting to know that person, their story, and that goes a long way in a deal. I mean, it really does. The fact that James was just talking on that same deal about how he had funded the one right across the street for that guy, that
Big.
probably is going to win the deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So James, I'm going to hit you up. So there's two things. First off, before you get going, I know you're in the car waiting to get to another appointment, but first thing is before as soon as we get off this, I'm going to shoot you a link for you to log into so you can finish uploading your video. But then the one thing that I hit everybody that comes on our show with is I need your 15-second elevator pitch. You and I just got on the elevator together. You need me to know who you are and what King James Lending can do in my world. Go.
Hi, my name's James Toler. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm looking to provide value to you any way that I can, whether that's buying a deal from you in a day, lending you $1 million in a day. I'm here to help you achieve whatever you're after, be your mentor, guide you, be your friend, introduce you to who you need to be introduced to, and let's take the world over together.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. That I can, for anybody that's ever known or met James, they can tell you right now that right there is 100% honest elevator pitch. And he is a great mentor, and he has the opportunity to really provide you with the financing you need to do something in your life that you've never thought was possible. And the only thing that's holding you back right now from changing your life is you. James is there to support you. You've got plenty of people here to support you.
It's just like my processor. James, I want a rental in 2 weeks. You know,
Boom.
One other thing I would say that I've been doing, just quick thought, new builds. If you ever thought about it, anybody's ever thought, I've been getting into new builds a lot. I've been buying land all over the place. The reason I'm doing that, one, land's not going down in value. But two, whenever you're doing a flip, you're waiting on a flip, right? You're waiting on a property. It's got to be a good deal, and it's you're negotiating. But with land, I'm an ultra A type, aggressive, right? I'm very aggressive. So what I like about land and new builds is I don't have to wait on a soul, right? When I'm ready and I've got 100 lots to go, I'll run through them as fast as I want or as slow as I want. I don't have to wait on anybody. Maybe the city, that's about it. But I don't have to wait on a deal to come to me. And that's the enemy of investing. I could give you a thought there, it's right that you do this deal and you do real well and you make good money, but then it takes 3 months to find your next deal.
Right.
It's a problem, right? It's how fast can you turn your capital over? If you can turn it over and over and over and over again, you're going to make a lot of money. And with new builds, that's one way to do it. It's a lot easier to buy land and to do a new build. It's actually way easier to do a new build than a renovation. It actually is if you learn it. There's no waiting. So that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been buying up lots, and I'll pass them on to other investors or buddies of mine, and I'll help them build. But anyway, it's just a thought I'd give you. It's something, something I really believe in. I've just been buying. I'll buy them cash and I'll sit on them. I'll just hold them, and then whenever I'm ready for them or a buddy's ready for them, I'll just
Well, one other fact about land, like you said, not only is the value always going up, but it's not like they're making any more of it. So it is finite. God has finished making the earth. It is done, and it's not growing. So
that's right.
It's so. Hey man, so I want to go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I'd like to have 1,000 lots.
Heck yeah.
Me too.
I really would.
Do we know a guy that can help us finance it?
Yeah, when you come to me, say, James, I want to do something in this area. Oh, well, by the way, here's a catalog. Pick. But the key is buying them right. I'm not just talking about buying them for whatever price. You got to buy them right, and then you just hold them. Then whenever you're ready, the numbers work really well on a new build when you get it right. So that's kind of my thought on that is, if y'all come across anything, you see anything, even a big plat, maybe 20 acres or 15 acres, I'll buy the whole thing and I'll just replat it out. I'll get, I might get 70 lots off that.
Right.
And I'll hold it. I'm not even, just a thought. If y'all come across anything or of anybody, I'm always looking. I think that'd be, and if y'all want to do anything or know anybody, I'm interested in,
anybody watching this podcast right now, this is called leveraging relationships. This is exactly what he's doing right now, is saying, hey, who do you know? What do they need? I want it, or I can help them get it.
Yep.
That's simple.
Yeah.
James, thank you so much, man.
A lot of good
blessing having you on. Yep. And it's been a blessing having you on, man. We really appreciate you. Hopefully we can catch you here in the next 6 months to a year, and we'll have you on again.
But the key question is, will you have a pool before you come back on?
So I've committed to my wife that we'd have a pool by next summer. So I'll have.
How many years has it been now?
No, I never said that. I've never told her that we'll have it. So you get. I'm real big on discipline, so I've been testing her patience. This is a character building.
You just sound like
you let me know how that works, because I would love to do that with my wife.
All right.
Yes. Thank y'all so much. I enjoyed it.
No problem, man. You have a blessed day.
Thank you, James.
I'll send you that link here shortly.
And I'll call you later. I'm going to help you close. I don't want anything. I just want to help you get that deal. I think that's a perfect fit.
Appreciate it.
Amen.
Thank you, James.
Bye.
Awesome.
It's true. And again, it comes down to it. It's just another person, like we've talked about, that literally is talking about how you have relationships, you leverage those relationships. And while he may not be currently leveraging AI, I think it's hard to find somebody in this area that leverages relationships as good as him. I think that's one of the reasons why he's grown so fast. He just started lending during COVID. That's only 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's if you noticed, he did it right. You can't just go unless you just got an enormous amount of money, or you got an enormous amount of you could have a network of people that will throw money in, but the way he's doing is right. Typically, the investor path is you get into flipping homes, then you start looking at other things, lending, hard money lending, or like he's talking about new builds. New builds are great if you can pull off a nice new build, and you also have partnerships with commercial brokers, even franchise brokers. Those are great to have, because they go, hey, we're looking in the area already. You go, okay, I got a great property that fits your metrics, and you keep that in your mind, man. New builds are great. And so it's just keep in mind, it's not something you can strictly jump right into and go to his level, but look at the path that he had. And I hope that's what you guys gained out of watching, was how he started from that beginning spot doing these things, and he did it right, and he helps people. I think when we have him on the next time, we need to get him to talk on those classes a bit more. That's something great that he does to give back. And yes, he gets something for it. He gets relationships, networking.
Yep.
But in those classes, he's literally helping people out there do things that they wouldn't otherwise know how to do. And it gives them that confidence to do it. Just like we were saying, don't have assumptions on why you can't do it. Go forward and find the reasons for you to do it, and then find the right resources of people, mentors. Have 5 mentors, have 10 mentors that help you and guide you on those things. There's a lot of good people out there, and there's no better form of flattery than asking somebody if they'll be a mentor. They love that. People love that. It's not a vanity or an ego thing, but people generally do like to help and give back, especially if they've been successful. They know that they had people along the way help them to get them where they are. They're willing to do the same things for the people that ask, and then work hard and show that they respect the time that they're being given. That would
and
be
even then, one of the things that you can figure out whether you're the person that you think would be a good mentor for you, ask them if they have a mentor. It's almost always that the best mentors have somebody else they work with. The best coaches have a coach.
Yep.
And it's because they understand that the reason why they're there is to help hold you accountable. But in order to hold you accountable, they have to be held accountable. I mean, it's
accountability and perspective. You can't see everything. It's great. I've got so many things I look at, and I go, and I'll call somebody else and be, man, what do you think about this deal? How do you think this deal is going to play out? Because I don't always have the right answers. My wife cannot see that I've recorded this, but I don't always have the right answers. And so it's good to have those people that can either give you the confidence that you have the right answer, or that are giving you a better answer that you just can't come up with on your own.
Yeah. But again, when you talk about having a good, clear path, like you and I believe Josh and I, we met him after he opened King James Lending, but Alyssa's known him longer than he's owned King James Lending. And she can tell you, she's seen his baby steps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just going from flipping houses to then, because when you're flipping houses, you need financing. So he basically went from being the student to the teacher, like receiving lending to then being the lender. Because if you have enough successful deals and you don't just go out and spend everything that you make, then you can parlay that into another successful business.
Yep.
Right.
I hope people also see too, like the network, like we're starting out local, but obviously we will have the capability, and we will have guests on that operate on a national scale. But I hope that people see now and get the acknowledgement that it's a small world when you're doing the right things within your little parts of the industry. You get to know all these other people. Me and JP met after I had met James. Was it before or after? And then you've known him prior, but JP has also introduced me to a couple of the networks that we've gone to. I've introduced him to a couple of the networks that we've gone to. I'm a little bit more on a national scale, just based on the business that I've gotten. I didn't really try for that. It just is what it is. But I'm actually trying to do more local now. But we all know kind of all these same people, and it's important to build those relationships and those networks so that you guys can pull the right deals, get the deals done, sell the home, find the home, find the business, sell the business, operate the business. You have to have a solid network. And AI doesn't necessarily do that for you. That's the one thing AI can't do yet. And so hopefully you guys get that AI is great for process, and we're always going to talk about that, but also think about the relationship side.
Yeah.
And AI will never, ever, ever, ever take away from relationships.
Nope.
Period. You can have the coolest Facebook on the planet. You can have the coolest Instagram on the planet. if you're not kissing babies and shaking hands, you're not building relationships. You could have 5,000 followers. I don't care if you got 10,000, 20,000, millions of followers. If you haven't met a single person, what does it mean? What does it mean?
I mean, I'm going to push back a little on that, because even with those people that have those huge Facebook or Instagram followings, they're building relationship just through the screen, but you still have to be personable.
Right.
You still have to be someone that people want to follow. I mean, that's not something that can be created.
So I don't disagree with that. And I don't want to take away from your big Instagram people or your big Facebook people, or, like the influencers, right? I mean, one of the reasons we started our podcast was because we wanted to become influencers ourselves. However, I think the big difference is the people that have become influencers because of whatever reason outside of actual human connection, they are 2 seconds away from their entire world crumbling. Whereas we can take and I can say something really stupid on this podcast. In fact, it's likely, I guarantee I'm going to say something really stupid on this podcast. And
I think we all will.
Yeah. Well, usually
I know I am.
Usually it's your computer that
it's not my fault.
So, but the thing is but because I have an actual solid foundation of people that I actually know in life that can stand up and say, that's not his character. And you can judge what you're seeing a picture of, or you can judge what you've heard me say, but I can tell you for a fact that is not his character. That's not who he is. And so I think it's important that while, yes, you can build a giant following and be an influencer, and yeah, they're relationships, but I think they're a heck of a lot more superficial relationships than me having relationships with people that I've actually had a chance to meet. So this is a good one, guys. I think this is a one that we got a chance to add some value to people's lives. I think John is a great American success story. He's living the American dream. James John. This is the second time
you're still stuck on John.
Yeah. So I mean,
we will have John soon on the show, and hopefully you don't call him James.
Yeah, right. And so, I think he really does. He's living the American dream. And I don't know that I don't know his story well enough to know that I could say from rags to riches, but definitely from not having the white picket fence to having the white picket fence, from living in a great community to living in an amazing community, to servicing himself, to servicing others. Mm-hmm. And he really, really is an American dream type kind of story. So I think he was a great person to have on.
Agree. So, and hopefully many more. I think I was, we hadn't touched on buy and flips and investor real estate and hard money lending yet. And I think it's I think people are scared of it. It is typically higher interest rates, but you got to realize what he's dealing with is more risk. But he's coming into a situation. He says, "Hey, we can fix this. We can change this. We can bridge this. We can get this done. I will take the risk for the money, and you get the benefit of continuing."
So I think that's one of the things that everybody needs to understand. When we say that the only person holding you back from changing your life, it is just you. You're the only person holding you back. That doesn't mean that things are free. For some reason, people who struggle in life seem to think that people who don't struggle in life get things for free.
Yeah, no.
And there's absolutely nothing. You pay for your mentorships. Like, there's a reason why coaches cost money. You're going to have a relationship with a mentor that's going to cost you something. It's either going to cost you your time, it's going to cost you your effort, it's going to cost you a deal where you're going to have to do a deal for free. It's going to cost you something in order to be able to hold that mentorship, because in all honesty, there's no information that I've ever received for free outside of the Bible that didn't cost me something. And really, even the information I get from the Bible that I apply to my
That
life,
still takes time.
but it still
Effort.
costs me something, right?
Yeah.
Like it might not cost me anything monetarily, but it still costs me something in my life, something that I had to give up in order to act the right way. And so, I mean, there's a cost to every deal. And if you think you're going to go to a lender, I don't care if it's Josh, I don't care if it's Steven, I don't care if it's James or Mike, you're not coming to a deal with zero skin in the game and then complain that rich people get to do it all the time, because it's just not true.
No.
Well, and there's an equation in our industry with lending, and you always will get something. It could be the rate, it could be the term, it could be the collateral, it could be the risk, but there's always a give and take. And I think that's what people are harder to visualize on the hard money side, especially if they don't understand necessarily their challenge, which with this deal that he was talking on that I know about, there's a gap in, you don't know what you don't know. And some people have never worked in this realm, but it's just a matter of just, get 5. I don't even care if we have competition when we're doing lending. I tell people, in fact, this is where my business comes in 100%. I'm telling you standards. I don't have skin in any lender's game. I'm telling you what standards are. If they come back with 13.5 points on a loan, I'm going to tell you, hey, this is pretty standard for what your deal is. Yeah. It doesn't mean that on the next deal it's not going to be 12%, but that lender's then going to see less risk on it, or better collateral, or more progress within the deal, or any number of things. Given better character. There's always a give and take. The fact, like I said, with James, that he's close, that will get. I think that's the missing link on that deal, is he's going to be able to come up a little bit to say, okay, this guy's local. And I like him because he's local and he's done deals in my area. I had a guy from Houston look at the deal. I think it was still a good deal, but it just wasn't the right fit. And that happens. That happens all the time. But the deal is good, and it's going to be good for somebody. And I've even already let the guy know, hey man, James is a great guy. Like I don't get anything for it. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to give him confidence that, hey man, this is a good guy in the area, that you can trust that what he says is going to be done, and that's what he hired me for in the first place, was consulting, which we don't charge for consulting. We charge it for closings. So anyways, I think just remember that there's give and take for everything, and you got to be able to understand that equation to an extent.
Yep, agreed 100%. So
don't forget to like, subscribe. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow. Give us some comments. Let us know what type of guests you guys want. We are now on Instagram. So now we have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Like and follow us on all of them, but mainly we operate through the YouTube, and YouTube goes out. We need some comments. We need some comments out there.
I want a comment from the first person that watches at 5 a.m. on Thursday.
In fact, you know what? I'm about to get our cigars branded so that we can have something to give out. So I'll tell you what, the first person that comments, you get the first cigar for free.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I just ordered them, and they are
amazing. And you can't, and you can't, you cannot comment and get a free cigar.
So
Alyssa can, but you can't.
So I've got some Habano Toros coming in, and then I've got some Maduro torpedoes coming in. So
we got some great stuff coming. We'll have some shirts, some polos, a whole bunch of stuff on there. So,
and you have to be 18 at least. No. I'm sorry. Tobacco in Texas is 21. You got to be 21
for the cigars. You got to be 21. Yep.
All right, guys. We love you guys. Thank you again so much for spending your hour with us. We can't thank you enough. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for letting us get in your business.
Heck yeah.